Right, a bit of positivity in our lives. Celtic won a game the other night. In the main, it was down to stars of tomorrow, the likes of Connor Hazard, David Turnbull, Ewan Henderson, Patrick Lamala, and of course Ismaila Soro. So if that's the future, what other stars that you don't know about at the moment could be about to break into the Celtic setup? Well, today I thought we'd take an interesting look at another one who I personally think is going to make inroads into the first team over the next year or so. His name is Cameron Harper, and he's got a very interesting and different story to tell. Now, we haven't had a lot to shout about in recent weeks and months, especially when compared to rivals from across the city, but at reserve level in the Glasgow Cup, we did scud them 3-0 barely a week ago. Cameron Harper was the star of the show at Dumbarton that afternoon. He scored 2 of the 3 goals. You can get the highlights on the Celtic YouTube if you really want to see them. 2 really good finishes from him, especially the second one. He looks a really good player, but who exactly is Cameron Harper? So the first thing you need to know about Cameron Harper is that he's an attacking player who will get you off your seat. He is 19 years old. He just turned 19 last month in November, and he's been in Scotland for a couple of years. Now, the vast majority of his life has been spent living in America, California to be precise. His dad and his brother are still out in the country, while his mum and I think another family member are in Scotland. So his family is quite divided in terms of their location. Now, as I say, he's lived out in America. He speaks with this strange kind of American-Scottish hybrid. I would say it's about 70% American twang, 30% the odd wee Scottish bit you pick up. So it's a strange kind of dynamic, but it sums up his life so far in terms of he's got that kind of dual citizenship. He describes himself as being a proud American, and he plays for the American under-20 team at present, so there's no doubting where his international future lies, but he's clearly proud of Scotland as well. That's where he lives at the moment. That's where his mum and his dad are both from. They come from Scotland. They are Scottish, although they moved to America around about 30 years ago and started a new life out there. So that's the kind of dynamics of Cameron Harper. So as always, when you've got limited footage, it's quite hard to get too much of an understanding of what kind of player Harper is, although from the stuff I've seen, he is a player who will get you off your seat. He is a winger. He said himself that his 3 favourite positions are right, left or centre of a front 3, although he could play on the wings in a different formation as well, I'm sure. The main kind of takeaway after seeing him is he's lightning quick. He's really agile in possession. He's got a real quick turn of speed, change of direction, quite similar to Jeremy Frimpong in many ways. Maybe that's the best comparison I can make with any current Celtic players in terms of ex-Celtic players. I think there's a bit of Aidan McGeady in him there. Not the box of tricks that McGeady was, but in terms of that quick change of direction and acceleration away from a defender, then Cameron Harper seems to have that about him. So that's where he can play. He's an exciting player. The actual story of how he ended up back in Scotland and at Celtic, who, by the way, I forgot to mention his mum and his dad both support, is a really interesting one. And it actually relates to the son of Tommy Burns, Johnny Burns, who is a Celtic scout, I believe, out in America. Now, Johnny Burns, who I think is based in Florida, has loads of different schools and stuff he helps with in terms of developing players of the future. And the story goes that one day Cameron Harper's dad, while watching his son, saw a random guy wearing a Celtic tracksuit, got into conversation with him, found out the whole story, and wouldn't you just know it, Cameron Harper ends up in Scotland playing for Celtic. Not the first team yet, but the development team. So how far away is Harper from making the step up into the Celtic first team? Well, Neil Lennon doesn't think he's actually too far away. The Celtic boss spoke glowingly of Harper just back in September, really impressed with the work he put in during lockdown, both physically and in terms of his mental state when coming back to be a Celtic player. The big change for Harper is that he came back in July. He didn't come back in September when the development team returned. He came back when the elite first team returned in July, and he's been part of that first team mix since then. But Harper himself has spoken about the work he did during lockdown. He actually went away back to America at the start of lockdown, returned to Scotland in July, and he has put on a lot of muscle and really grown as a physical specimen as well. He gave some quotes to the Celtic View that were on the Celtic official website as well, and in that he said, "I had so much free time at night, so I used to do strength work to try and bulk up a little. I did upper body and lower body stuff, but I didn't have a full gym at my home, so it was more bodyweight stuff and using the medicine ball. I've put on around 3 kilos of muscle, and I've noticed that's helped me handle the challenges of training with the first team better. I came back to Scotland at the end of July. I received a call to tell me I was coming back to train with the first team. I was a little bit nervous, but I had a few days to get my head around it." So that was on the Celtic website earlier on in the year. In fact, it was late last year, late 2019, he gave an interview to the Celtic View again, in which he said quite publicly, and this is what I quite like about Harper, and it seems to be a general American trait of being, quite confident. Think back to the guy that scored against us on Thursday night, Tim O'Weah. Like, he's always really confident the way he speaks. You get the same kind of vibe from Harper, and as I say, last year he said that his big goal, publicly said that he wanted to make the breakthrough to the Celtic first team and make his first appearance for Celtic proper in season 2019-20. Now, that obviously didn't happen. Probably COVID killed off that hope. Would he have made an appearance in a normal world? We'll never know. I would guess that with us so far ahead in the league at that stage and probably due to wrap it up with a few games to spare, I think he may well have been given an opportunity to shine by Neil Lennon, a manager who clearly likes him. So he can count himself a little bit unfortunate there, but in many ways the target should now be to make that first appearance this season. And as much as we've got so many big games coming up, I think he's got a fair chance. The reason I say that is that he is most naturally a winger. We aren't exactly blessed for wingers at the moment. On the right, we have virtually no one. Ryan Christie's been playing out there mainly for us. On the left, we've got El Yunusi, and yes, Mikey Johnson is returning as well, but Cameron Harper could certainly add something there. He's yet to make that first appearance for Celtic, but he has been on the bench a few times now. He was on the sidelines for 3 consecutive games in August against Dundee United, that ill-fated Ferencváros tie, and also the subsequent home game against Motherwell. He then didn't see any first team action or wasn't on the bench at all until Thursday night when he returned to the matchday squad for the 3-2 win over Lille. So Lennon clearly has an eye on him, and with Kanamoko Dembele clearly falling away in the reckoning, then there could really be a future there for Cameron Harper. He's rated really highly with the American footballing authorities. He's part of their under-20 team at the moment. He's one of their top talents in that team. He's probably almost certainly a future American international, so let's just hope he can make the step up to Celtic pretty soon and can make a real impression, because we still need fresh blood coming through.